Shalom. This is just a quick hit, but before I begin, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashum, Yahweh Shai Bashum, Rakah Wadash, the monster of the apostles, the monster of the elders, our great millstone Ruel, and Tom in his truth. Much respect to you brothers out there, just preaching his word and truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. The tabernacle of David that's being risen up right before your very eyes. The hopeful elect and the speckled bird are people that's listening and learning, especially in these last days, taking heed to you. I say shalom. Let's get into this lesson. Like I said, just a little quick hit. I was doing some art and end up coming across this video. And this goes to show you the Lord has laws for a reason, right? A dietary law on what you can eat and what you cannot eat, right? And this is a perfect example of why the dietary law must be implemented. This video will get into it, how people have seizures and I believe cerebral palsy and all types of issues in their knees, right? Because of what you eat in your diet, right? You're eating that pork, all right? And a lot of these pork, all right, it's like a lot of, pretty much mainly what pork has in it, whether you realize it or not, is parasites. Part of which, because of the animal, right? There's a video of a appear-to-be Edomite. He was like, "Man, these ain't herbivores. These are meat eaters." Which you go into their diet, they're omnivore. They're pretty much they clean up. They have their role in the animal kingdom, and that's to clean up, right? The dead carcass, right? I remember my father talked about when he was younger, he saw this pig, just eat this dead chicken, man, just straight up. Why? Because that's their job, right? That is their job. That's what they do. They eat the dead carcass. Matter of fact, if a snake would bite them, a venomous snake will bite them, right? They'll be okay. They'll be okay because that's how the Lord made them. Their digestive system, right, is full of parasites. It's full of acid, right? They are not made to be consumed, right? And when you eat them, and this is why we got to get the heck up out of here, because this man has defiled the food. He's putting pork in everything, right? Pork or human meat, and cellular meat, whatever. This man is a mad scientist, right? We got to get the heck up out of here because this place is polluted, right? I'm gonna get the scripture real quick. Let me see. Yeah, Leviticus 11:7, and the swine, which is the pig, the boar, right? The pork, right? Though he divided the hoof and be cloven footed, right? It looks as if, you look at his hooves, right? It looks to be as an animal that you can eat. But check this. Yet he cheweth not the cud. He is unclean to you, right? The animal that cheweth the cud, right? Matter of fact, we'll look into that. What is chewing? What is chewing the cud, right? We'll get that real quick in the AI, right? He is unclean to you. Of the flesh shall ye not eat, and the carcass ye shall not touch. They are unclean to you. And this video outlines it. Why? Because they have a lot of parasites in them, even if they die, right? The Lord said, hey, no mugs is unclean. Don't even touch the mugs, right? You probably have to get a damn shovel and whatever, some type of machinery and, move that mug and bury them somewhere else. How they have the animals, the vultures eat that mug, right? Because there's a high probability that those parasites will lay eggs in you, right? like I said, I was supposed to look up chewing the cud. Right here, right, has I was just looking up what type of parasites can come from eating the pork. But let's look up what chewing the cud mean. Let's look that up real quick. The phrase chewing not the cud comes from the Bible, especially dietary laws in which we're supposed to live by, right? The law is not done away, Christians, right? If the law was done away with, you will be able to eat these animals and not get sick, not get parasites. That's a cut right there. Literal meaning, chewing the cud refers to animals like cows, sheep, and goats. The ruminants that regulate partial digestive foods and chew it again, right? They chew it again. They have a second stomach, right? To a further digest those foods, right? So truth, not the cud simply means an animal does not re-chew his food, right? So he just gobbling that thing down, right? As my father told of that story of that chicken that got eaten by the pig, man. You know, biblical context, those passages, animals are not considered clean, right? Allowed to eat only if they chew the cud and have split cloven hooves, right? So the Bible is very specific, right? Though he has split cloven hooves, he is still unclean because he cheweth not the cud, right? And so it may not go into grave detail of why not to eat it, but you can most definitely see the effects as I get into this video. Y'all right desire, or I just may do it like this, and just watch the video and see what happens to old boy, right? Animals that fail one of these, like pigs, are labeled unclean. The pig, for example, have a split hoof, as I just said, but does not chew the cud, so it's prohibited under those laws, right? But the takeaway is a part of an ancient dietary system, right? What does the scripture say? Search of the old path, right? Because here in Babylon the Great, in which they give you Christianity, another god, a wooden stone, they tell you the laws is done away with. That's a new way, right? The Lord ain't with that, right? Matter of fact, you go into the dream in which Peter had, what was that? Acts 11, which I may get or may not, I'm just roughly paraphrasing, you know, that dream that Peter had, which when you get the true understanding of it, was not about eating other animals, all right? Other animals that were unclean. No, it's about the tribes, the Lord outreaching to the other tribes, man, right? Because the scriptures read, to the Jew first and then to the Greeks, right? Because you had the Greeks, which were Israelites, mind you, that were following after the customs and the ways of the heathens, or identifying themselves as heathens, but they were Israelites. But you had a huge multitude of them coming to this truth, right? So anyways, let's get to it. Part of an ancient dietary system distinguishing acceptable versus unacceptable animals, often tied to religious laws rather than modern biology or nutrition. And let's get this real quick. We're going to go up real quick. I got to get this scripture real quick. Deuteronomy 4 and verse 5. Behold, I've taught you statutes and judgment, even as the Lord Yahweh my power commanded me, that what? That ye shall do so in the land whereth ye goeth to possess it. Right? And what the Lord say? Keep therefore and do them. No matter where you at, no matter what time period, the law ain't done away with. No matter where you at, what time period, You're supposed to keep the law to the best of your ability, right? The law doesn't save you, right? Because you have the Christians, the law doesn't save you, but the elect, hey, guess what? The elect is going to be practicing the law. It's going to be doing the law, doing what the Lord tells them to do to the best of their ability. What is sin? Sin is transgression of the law, right? How you know you sin, right? It's transgression of the law, man. You know, basic milk scriptures that you learn when you first come into this thing, which is a very beautiful thing, you know, in which the Christians are drowning in the milk, right? Let's see. For this is your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation, right? They're supposed to look upon you as this way. Surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great who have power so nigh unto them as the Lord our power is in all things that we call upon him for, right? So they're supposed to look upon you as in all your ways, your laws, and all. Like, man, these are very prosperous people. They don't have these sickness and ailments, and you know they're very prosperous. The way in which they lay down the law, very prosperous, right? A false accuser, hey, he gonna get it, right? Somebody that murdered somebody, hey, they gonna get it according to the law, right? Instead of the heathens, you know, some of them have some shape and form of the law, but they don't follow it to the T, right? They have other laws, they have other guidelines. They're eating these unclean animals, right? It's not that the animals is an abomination unto you. It's just unclean for you to eat it, right? As I said earlier, we're going to get this right here. Going into the parasites, right? Not sure how you say that. Tenenatus, right? One of the parasites that you can eat. It's like you get from eating pork. From eating undercooked pork, because you know this man Esau eat them. He likes, you know, he a savage, man. Containing pork, tapeworms, cyst, right? This can cause mild digestive symptoms, or sometimes no symptoms, right? Chrysalis corrosis, right? This is more serious complication involving pork tapeworms, usually from fecal contamination, rather than just eating other cooked pork. If larvae reach the brain, which happened to old boy over here, the larvae will go into the brain, right? Or the eggs will go into the brain. Yeah, just the larvae will grow into the brain, and they will cause cyst. And with the cyst, right, with your body trying to fight these things off, you end up getting seizures. You end up blacking out, right? You end up forgetting things, right? If the larvae reach the brain, it causes neurocystiosis, right? However you say that, which can lead to seizures, and that's what happened to old boy. Toxoplasmosis, right? Pork can occasionally carry this parasite if not cooked properly, in which you're not supposed to eat it regardless, right? Even cooking the pork, right? Even cooking it doesn't kill the parasites. Though it's more often discussed with undercooked meat generally, right? Let's get this. Let's play a little bit of this.
He ate pani puri in India.
And Slovakia, fair use.
44 days after that street stall in Delhi, Jared Cullen had his first seizure in a grocery store parking lot. He dropped his keys, then he dropped himself. His body went rigid on the asphalt, his jaw locked, He bit through the side of his tongue.
Ooh.
An MRI showed dozens of white spots scattered across both hemispheres of his brain.
Cyst.
Each one was a cyst. Each cyst had something alive inside it. And here's the part that will keep you up tonight. The doctor could not kill them, because killing them all at once would kill Jared first. This is diagnosis glitch.
Ooh. So let me see if I fast forward. Let me see. See if I get right here. I'm going to just get to the conclusion.
Largest cause of preventable epilepsy in the developing world. In the United States alone, there are roughly the same thing. I know. Here's what I need you to understand. 50 million people are carrying these cysts right now. Neurocystic cirrhosis is the single largest cause of preventable epilepsy in the developing world. In the United States alone, there are roughly 1,000 hospitalizations per year, and most of those people will trace it back to a single meal they barely remember. This is not about fear. This is not about avoiding travel. Go to India, go to Thailand, go to Mexico, go to Peru. The world is worth seeing. The food is worth tasting. But the difference between Ryan and Jared was not courage. It was not luck. It was a choice. One of them drank from a sealed bottle. The other drank from a steel bucket that had been sitting in the sun since dawn. Same trip, same street. One walked away fine. The other came home with something alive inside his brain. You're going on a trip soon, or you just came back from one, or you're planning one right now. Here's what the doctors will not tell you, because most Western doctors do not even know these diseases exist. Bottled water, sealed...
See, not even these Western doctors, right? Doctors, aka over here in Babylon, don't even know these symptoms. Don't even know, right? Because it's a regular thing for the people to eat the pork, right? And so, like you said, a lot of people actually have these issues, or, have these pork larvae, right? These parasite larvae, pork larvae, parasite larvae within their body. You wonder why your knees is feeling all messed up, which, just a quick thing with that, you probably need to go on more walks. You need to go outside, get some walks, work out your ankles, get some mobility back into your body, especially if you're in this truth, right? You first and foremost should be spiritually getting yourself together. You should be eating correctly, and go on a nice walk, Jake. Whether it's outside or on the treadmill, your body is made to move. You need to move, right? Make sure you're stretching. Though the scriptures do say, exercise profited little, but don't disregard that. Still exercise. Still get your diet in order. That's the thing about this truth. We learn in all aspects on how to get ourselves in order, right? So still get yourself in order. Still, your body is made to move, especially you got a desk job. You need to move. Get some time out, rather you get under the floor, under the desk, it's like you're under the floor, under the desk, treadmill, mobile pad, something, man. You need to start moving your body, and also start fasting. Fasting will cleanse out your body, get rid of all these dead cells, especially if you fast for, let's say, about 2 days or more, right? Your body really starts, cleaning itself out. Eventually, I believe on the 3rd or 4th day or so, you start making stem cells. These damn Edomites, they pay a lot of top dollar for stem cells, in which you can get free, Slakia, devil. You can get free stem cells by getting 8 hours of rest if possible, all right? Perfect amount of sleep, and by fasting, right? Because your body starts to correct itself, cleanse itself, and it makes stem cells, right? If you go on a longer fast, which is very good. A matter of fact, fasting is part of our heritage, so it's good. It's a good thing to do, right? Because a lot of these foods, it's just defiled. So it's very good, especially in this kingdom, to go on a fast, right? Because these foods, man, rather if you make it at home or so, it's still. Hey, we gotta get the heck up out of here. We still under this wicked ass kingdom, man. Polluting all this shit. But yeah, that can pretty much be the point. You know, I had some more, but that's pretty much the point. You know, I was going to get this scripture. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and get it. Second Chronicles 33 and verse 9, because I was supposed to get the one in Jeremiah 16. You have done worse than your fathers, right? Just roughly paraphrasing. I got this one right here, Second Chronicles 33 and verse 9. Manasseh led the people of Judah to commit even greater sins than those committed by the nations whom the Lord had driven out of the land as his people advanced. And you have to go into what them damn Hamites were doing. They were doing a whole bunch of wickedness. And oh boy, had the people doing that. You know, so this is just one of the many reasons and why we're in this captivity today. And first and foremost, it's just the Lord's movie. But many reasons because our people, the Lord will raise up a man of the Lord, a judge, and they will serve the Lord. They will turn back to the Lord. And then once that man die, pass away or whatever, they go back to their wickedness, man. You know, so the Lord just had enough. Sent us to this, the worst captivity that we ever been. These niggas took our heritage, polluted the food. I mean, just everything is wicked and wrong with this place, man. But we have a great deliverance in store for us, man. Manasseh repents. Although the Lord warned Manasseh and his people, they refused to listen. So the Lord let the commanders of the Assyrian army invade Judah. They captured Manasseh, stuck hooks in him, right? That's got to be harsh. Just imagine that, man. Stuck hooks in him, put him in chains, and took him to Babylon, right? And you go on, you know, we went from captivity to captivity because we just kept following the ways of the heathens, man. Eating the pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, you know, doing all types of wickedness, man. Child sacrifices. So yeah, we're coming to the time where, you know, only the elect is going to take heed. The elect is not going to be eating the pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. And if you do eat it, it's unwillfully. As in, they put it, you know, they snuck it in your food. You know what I'm saying? In which that's why it's very imperative that you always pray over your food, you know, and watch where you're eating, you know. Watch where you're eating, you know, because this damn devil is a devil, man. He putting pork in everything. And as you know, going back to an example, you know, if they put it in there with you unknowingly, right? They probably put the pork in the stuff because they know we're the children of Israel. They know we're Yasharallah. So they might not even list the ingredients and just have the pork in that mug. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just another reason why we got to get the heck up out of here, man. Yahweh desires an edifying lesson. Shalom.